Hi folks, this is Tom, your frugal prepper. I'm going to do a video, and I may do a couple of videos, but basically, General S. Lee did a video a while back, which is called, like, How Did You Get Started Prepping? Now, I've kind of always been the kind of person that buys some extra and puts it to the side, because, number one, I don't like to have to run out every time I need a roll of toilet paper and waste gas and time. And I've just always been the kind of person that's like, I've got a little extra money now, so I'm going to buy it, and then when I'm broke, or I have one of those weeks with an unexpectedly high electric bill, I can live off of what I have on the shelf, and I always have a way to make a meal and feed the family. Now, as I've started to see grocery prices increase, I've started to store more food. And I have some emergency long-term food storage in another location. This is pretty much just kind of like my little working pantry. It's just a spare bedroom, got some shelves, got some stuff organized. And this also helps because I can keep stuff back here kind of in bulk or more, and just keep my cupboards as working cupboards. I don't keep a whole bunch of food in the cupboards. I can keep pots, pans, utensils, stuff like that more organized in the kitchen, and come back here and run to, when I need to run to the grocery store to get something, I run to the back bedroom. I call it the Tomley Dollar, because we always used to run to the Family Dollar. Or in my neighborhood, I usually call it the Family Squalor. But buying stuff when it's on sale, and you find a coupon for it, so check your paper for coupons, and then just briefly look through the sales. And almost every week, you're going to find 1, 2, 3 things that's a really good deal. It's on sale, you got a coupon that you can double, and then you go buy as much of it as you can. You may buy a few extra papers even. A lot of people say they don't like the coupons where you have to buy 2 to save. I do, because that means you can get more quantity if it's a good coupon and it's on sale. So, there's times I might run out and buy extra papers. And what I've also found is a drive-through near me. Check your gas stations and small businesses, because they have all these extra papers on Monday that are from Sunday with coupons in them, and they'll just give me as many as I want on Monday. Right? Like, here, you load up your trunk. So if you find a good deal, check with people what they do with their leftover papers. A lot of times they just report how many they didn't sell to the newspaper company and throw them away. Rather than putting them in the dumpster, see if you can have them. Also, talk to people who deliver newspapers. A lot of times on Sunday they have to put the coupon inserts and roll up the papers themselves. And they'll get like a whole big crate of coupon inserts and however many papers they'll deliver, and they'll have a bunch of extra coupon inserts just left over. So talk to those people who deliver newspapers. A lot of times they, I know here, they go pick up their papers for their route, and then there's a big giant pile of coupon inserts, and they're supposed to just count out however many they need or whatever. Well, a lot of times they just grab a whole big pack, throw away what they don't use, or they can grab you some extras. So get to know people who get to know your paper boy. Or anymore here, it's actually contracted out by a company, so they're paper men. We don't really have paper boys anymore. But when you find a good deal, you go and stock up on it. So up here on this shelf, this top row of jars, and I know you're not supposed to stack canning jars. I am going to get like a little piece of plywood and make a little sub shelf in there. But we just got done canning all this pork. I think I got like 50 pounds of pork. And pork loins were on sale for $1.99 a pound. It's a great big long giant full pork loin. So I got like, it's normally $3.69 a pound, so we bought 50 pounds of it. And then, you know, you could freeze it, but it gets freezer burn and stuff. When you pressure can it, it's really easy. You just take it, put some salt in the jar, pack it as full of meat as you can, put a lid on it, throw it in the pressure canner, you let it process for 90 minutes. I do mine at 15 pounds just because I have a 15 pound weight and I don't want to have to watch the gauge at 11 pounds. So just let it go up to 15, it won't hurt anything. And in 90 minutes you got a whole bunch of canned pork, and you can just repeat that process. The other thing that you want to check with your grocery store, because even if those pork tenderloins are in the meat section, like the refrigerated section, they have a counter where they cut meat and steaks and stuff. If you go over there with that and say, I'd like this cut, because I needed mine 1-inch cubes, go over there and say, I'd like this cut into chops, at 1-inch chops. They'll go ahead and slice it into 1-inch segments for you and wrap it up. And then the nice thing about that is now you only have to just slice it a couple times to make it into 1-inch cubes. You don't have to cut everything from scratch. So if they'll do any cutting for you for free, have them cut it as much as they will. So yeah, we spent an evening from, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon until about 1 o'clock in the morning was when the last batch of stuff came out. Now, I canned a whole bunch of corn that they had on sale too. They had fresh corn that you know, still had the leaves on it. You had to shock it or whatever you call that yourself. But then, you know, shave the kernels off with a knife and can them, and you've got some nice whole kernel canned corn. So they had those 4 ears for 50 cents, and they're normally for $1, but they're getting a little old. So cleaned those out too. We did about a case of canned corn. I like doing the pint-sized jars on the meat. They're the perfect size. They hold up almost exactly a pound for one meal. It's already cooked. So if you need to make some quick beef and noodles or pork and noodles, what I do, like if I'm going to take that pork and make pork and noodles out of it, I'm going to take it, I sit it in a jar of a pan of warm water, let the kind of the fat and stuff remelt on it. Then I'm going to pop the lid. I'm going to drain out all the fat and juices into a pan. I'm going to mix that with a whole bunch of flour and get it to where the flour is just kind of like a greasy paste. Then I'm going to heat it, add milk to it, and some black pepper and salt, and it's going to make a nice gravy. I'm going to boil some egg noodles. I'm going to put my chunks of meat in the gravy, let them heat up, and then add all that to my noodles and stir it in. And you have a really cheap, quick, easy, delicious beef and noodles or pork and noodles. It cooks kind of like in its own juices and leaves all that juiciness right there in the jar for you to use to make the gravy out of. So it's really fast and easy. So for one afternoon of work, now we have a year's worth of easy pork meals. You know, easy if we're cooking it once or twice a week. And I don't have to worry about buying meat for a long, long time. Okay. Now, if I come across a deal on coffee, I'll stock up on coffee. I come across a deal on sugar, I stock up on sugar. Flour's the same way. I do a lot of buying of stuff at Gordon Foods. So, like, up here is like my flours and sugars and stuff. You know, I get coupons from Gordon Foods. I go through a lot of flour, so I buy flour quite a bit because I'm always making bread from scratch. So, but I always get coupons them for $4 off of 40, $5 off of 50. So, you know, take advantage of that and you're buying in bulk, so you're saving and you're getting a discount. You know, and then down here I just have like on these boxes beans, pasta, rice. I have some packs of ramen noodles just because they store for a long time, but they're pretty salty. But you know, anything that you can kind of buy ahead and store, when you find a good deal on dish soap or, you know, whatever you find a deal on, just buy a bunch of it and stock up. And what you'll find is that you're going to save money in a couple of ways. One is you're going to save money because you don't have to run to the store every time you run out of milk, right? Speaking of milk, Dollar Tree. That's shelf-stable milk. It's $1 a quart, so that makes it $4 a gallon. Now that's more, you know, $3 a gallon is a pretty typical price for milk right now, so it's a little bit more. But it does not require refrigeration. It is 100% whole milk, drinkable right out of the container. If you chill it down, it tastes just like regular milk. They make it in whole milk, 2%, and low-fat milk. It's ultra-pasteurized. And I know I think it was Cat's Cradle. I think it was Cat's Cradle did a video where she drank some of this like a couple years past its expiration date, and it tasted just fine. And it's not really an expiration date, it's a best by date. But it's shelf stable, so it will stay good for a long, long time, or drinkable for a long, long time. And that's a way to have, even if you don't, I normally buy the regular milk anyway, but that's a way to have some on hand in case there is a longer term, like a blizzard or something like that. I've got milk I can come in here and grab. And so that's something to think about. If they don't carry it at your Dollar Tree, by the way, you can go and order it by the case online off the Dollar Tree website, and they will deliver it to your Dollar Tree for free. But basically, this is just kind of, a well-stocked pantry so that you don't have to run out and buy everything and pay full price for it when you need it. Saves you a lot of money. So this is one of those cases where people think, like, oh, you're a crazy prepper, look at all this food you're buying, you're never going to need it. Well, at any time, there's 3 to 6 months worth of food in here. So that gives me that buffer. I do have other food stored and longer term storage solutions in bulk off-site as well. But if I don't have to worry about running out and getting that. I've got 3 to 6 months that I can hunker down in my house and go nowhere, and I know that I've got the ability to feed my family. Another thing I would talk about here is water storage. Let me move the camera up here. Just kind of hold it so you can see. So, like, I've got these big water jugs up here. Found these at a garage sale, so always check your garage sales, folks. Give them a quick walkthrough when you see one. I got all those water storage jugs for $2 at a garage sale. Sterilized and cleaned them out, filled them up. I got water. The other thing, I'll have to tilt the camera sideways for you to see this, is 2-liter bottles. Okay, there's a whole shelf full of 2-liter bottles of water. Now, I keep my water for a year, and I have never had any problems. I've even drank them past a year, no problems. But if there's any question of it, you can pop it out and boil it and use it. Or, what I do when water starts to get old, I write the date on my bottles and jugs. If I'm time to refill them, don't waste that water. Dump it in your washing machine and wash the laundry with it. Dump it in the dish thing and rinse your dishes with it. So use it and then refill it. On my big jugs, as an experiment this time, when they come up on a year, I'm just going to try adding a few more drops of bleach to it and reclosing it. Because light does break down bleach over time, and that's usually why your water will go bad. Stock up on paper towels and stuff. You can get coupons on these. They're on special a lot. A lot of times if you have coupons and specials, you can get the good quality Bounty paper towels and Charmin toilet paper in bulk, cheaper than the super cheapy stuff that doesn't last very long because it's really just a bunch of air. Another thing is gas. First of all, what I want to say is 5-gallon gas cans are expensive, right? For a plastic can at Lowe's, they're wanting $19 or something. About the cheapest I'm finding gas cans anywhere is $16 new. Now, if you're going to store gas inside, make sure you get those sealing gas cans, like these, where they actually seal and they don't have a vent. They're kind of harder to pour gas out of, but they seal tight, and if you keep them temperature controlled, you don't have fumes to deal with. And if you look around at garage sales, you'll find gas cans often very cheap. I got one of these 5-gallon cans at Hamvention. A guy had sitting at his booth, and he wanted $2 for it. So, I snagged that up. It was still new and had the tag on it. But keep an eye out at garage sales and flea markets and stuff like that for gas cans. Don't buy them new. They just cost way too much for something that's made out of plastic. But what I do, again back to the gas, what I do is on my Kroger card, after you spend a certain amount of money, I don't know exactly how much it is, it just tells you on your receipt what your gas discount is after you go for a while. It'll tell you, you're going to get 80 cents off, $1 off, you're going to get 20 cents off, I wait till it gets close to $1 off, and then I take my car, or my wife's car, and all the gas cans, and go top them off, right? Then when gas is expensive, I'll do it. Like these cans were, I think I filled up like 5 or 6 cans at the same time. I always try to keep a couple that I don't use that are just in reserve until I fill up the others. And then I'll use these two, right, so that I keep it rotated. But I think I gave like $2.39 a gallon for this gas. It's way better now because gas is getting like $3.60 something a gallon. So that saves you money. Just wait till gas comes down a little bit. You got a discount on your card. United Dairy Farmers does this too. So if you're a UDF person, do that. If it's something you buy anyway that's the same price, like cigarettes or whatever, you can get at UDF. That'll go towards your card and get gas discount. UDF does not limit the number of gallons you can buy. I think Kroger's is like 35 gallons at a time. For UDF, it doesn't matter if you want to buy 500 gallons, you get that same discount in that one purchase. So UDF card is a good idea too if you have one around you. But that's just a little kind of brief thing about how a food pantry saves you money. The other way that food storage saves you money is food is going up in cost, and it's continued to go up in cost. They say that food has gone up 35% in the last 3 years. That's what I've been reading. But it seems like more than that to me, especially here recently. I used to go and buy Pringles for 59 cents a can if there was a little bit of a sale going on, like 79 cents if there wasn't. This wasn't that long ago. And this is back in like 2006, right? It's now like 6-7 years later. And, shoot, I'm lucky if I can find them on sale too for $3, so $1.50 a can. It's just everything has gone up. It almost seems more like it's doubled to me. Well, if you put your money in a savings account, now you need to have some savings for emergencies, right? Like my furnace broke, my car broke down, stuff like that. But you know what? It might make more sense to make sure you also have a well-stocked pantry before you save too much money. Because food is only going to go up by massive amounts compared to what you can earn on a savings account, right? You can always use food, you always need to eat, you always need to feed your family. Make sure you save it in such a way that it's not going to spoil before you use it. But you can, get a 35% return on your investment or a 50% return on your investment versus 2 or 3% if you're really lucky and have a great super checking account with $25,000 minimum balance in it, right? Like a good money market account or something. You might earn 2 or 3% right now. And then that money's in a bank when the economy collapses and the banking system collapses and the Federal Reserve doesn't want to make good on it, or if they do make good on it, the money's not worth anything. You can't buy nothing with it. Food you can eat, food you can trade. Cash in the bank that you can't get to isn't going to do you much good. So yeah, you need emergency savings for day-to-day life, but you might want to also look at things that you can truly use and or barter if things happen. I do not believe that there's going to be a really big, like, giant collapse and everything's going to be without rule of law and every man for themselves. I do believe that things are going to get tougher, things are going to get worse, and the economy's going to get worse. And there's going to be a bubble that pops. I look at things that have happened before, and I can see another Great Depression happening where people just don't have any food. I remember when we had to go through the attic of my grandmother's house and grandfather's house, and we found like big giant cases of dial soap, which were still good and could be used, but case after case of stuff like that, just that they stored and put back, like all kinds of food and canned goods, just like everything. Some of it had gone bad, some of it hadn't. And I say, why did they do that? That's just crazy. When I was a kid, it seemed crazy to me. Although we always prepared and had food put back, it was nothing like that. My grandparents went through the Great Depression. They had to worry where they were going to get their next pound of bacon or their next loaf of bread or their next brick of cheese. They had to stand in line all day to try to get it, you know. They went through rough times where people were walking up and down the street saying, I'll do anything, you know, I'll clean your house, I'll mow your grass, I'll trim your bushes just for one meal, for one cup of rice. My family's starving, my wife's pregnant, and she hasn't eaten in 7 days, you know. That stuff happens. And there was no major war or virus or pandemic or outbreak, or it was just an economic collapse, right? It was just the economy got bad, right? And that can happen again, and that's probably what I think will happen again. I always try to look at what's happened in the past. That's the best indicator of what's going to happen in the future. So having some food put back could really help you through a hard time, and it can help you through a hard time just with everyday life. You lose your job, you get sick, have to go in the hospital. Okay, this is why, you know, I've just about got my house payments caught up. I got behind on my house payments when my business failed. I'm just about completely caught up, and I'm going to continue to pay until I would like to get a year's worth of house payments just paid ahead. I know I could put that money in a savings account, but I'd rather go ahead and give them the money now and not put it towards the balance of my house, just put it as an extra payment. I know that it's better to earn a little interest, but if something happens and the economy collapses, I may not be able to get to my savings account. But if I've already paid them a year ahead, that's a year I don't have to worry about a house payment. So I feel more comfortable doing that. But then if I lose my job or something goes wrong, you know, when you pay your electric bills and stuff, just pay a little bit extra. Just pay, you know, $10, $15, $20 extra, and let that build up and build up a credit. Put it on auto pay and build up a credit, so that, you know, you can go a few months without paying the electric bill, and then you probably go a couple more months before they'll actually shut it off. So that can give you, you know, 5-6 months if something happens, if you get sick, if you need surgery, if you hurt your back. You know, just if the worst happens, you're covered that way. Now, you can do that with the savings account too, of course, and just pay the bills as they come due. But I kind of like already having the credit with them, so they can't, you know, you don't risk losing your money in a bad bank or something crazy like that. And then once that stuff's paid up a little ahead, then you can put some savings back. The other thing I'll say is, whenever there's a big power outage here or a blizzard takes out the power, one thing you have to remember is credit cards and debit cards do not work without phone lines and power. ATM machines do not work without phone lines and power. Make sure you put $100, $200 in a secure location in cash, emergency cash, so that if you do have to run out and go try to buy something, a lot of the stores may be selling stuff, but they're not taking food stamp cards, they're not taking debit cards, they're not taking credit cards. They want cash because that's the only thing they can take. So make sure you have some cash on hand too, even if it's $50, just some emergency cash in case there is something you need to buy. But that's pretty much it. This is Tom, your frugal prepper. I know this video went really long, but I'm just going to leave it as is, I think. Thanks.